Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. To Dakshinamurti, who is all pervasive like the sky, who is the God of this universe, who also appears as the Guru who transmits this knowledge, and as the self, the Jiva, the one seeking this knowledge. I salute that Dakshinamurti. So welcome to this retreat. This text we have selected this time is the Dakshinamurti Stotram. It's composed by Adi Shankaracharya, a very beloved hymn, very beloved stotra. So the story goes like this. When the universe was created, Brahma is the creator of the universe. So Brahma created. The first thing he did was 4 sons were born to Brahma. Sons in the sense of they were projections of his mind. Manasaputra, like a spiritual son. 4 sons. They are the 4 great sages, ever perfect sages. Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar. So these 4 sages were first created. And Brahma wanted them to help him, kickstart creation. But when they were manifested in this universe, and you sort of take it that the universe has been created, or at least some version of it, they saw this is no good. And they said the purpose of all of this is to become enlightened and realize that you're Brahman, not be limited body and mind. They were all perfected. They had all the qualifications. They were full of vairagya, dispassion for this embodied existence. So all they wanted was self-knowledge and freedom from the very beginning. Now, whom would they get self-knowledge from? They looked towards their spiritual father, Brahma, but they were not inspired because they saw he was very busy. After all, he has to create the universe. So he has got this project after project and, up and doing. He didn't seem like a very good spiritual teacher. So they were a little disillusioned. So they decided to go to Vishnu and ask for spiritual knowledge. So off they went to Vishnu, to Vaikuntha, the abode of Vishnu, where they found, to their dismay, Vishnu was relaxing on his couch, the Sheshanaga, the cosmic serpent, and his feet were on the lap of Mahalakshmi, who was massaging his feet, and Vishnu was taking his usual nap, he was relaxing. That did not seem very edifying at all, not very spiritual. So they quickly left. They thought their last refuge is Shiva. And they go to Shiva, and what do they see? Oh, horror of horrors. Shiva has given half of his body to his wife, Parvati, and he's in the form of the half male and half female form, the Ardhanarishwara. So there is Mahadeva and Parvati in one form. And these monks, they were celibate. They were shocked at this, and they said, no, we don't want knowledge from Shiva. Now the Divine Mother Parvati, she was amused, of course. She smiled and said to Shiva that they are good boys, you should give them what they want. And so Shiva manifested himself as in the form of a youth, 16 years old, glowing, radiant, clearly enlightened being in front of those great sages, and imparted to them what they wanted, self-knowledge. And it was such an inspiring form. So the sages became disciples and they got self-knowledge from this form. The south-facing form. The south-facing is taken as a gracious form. So this form of Shiva, which is called Dakshinamurti, the south-facing form of Shiva, the gracious form of Shiva, is said to be a manifestation of the Anugraha Shakti, the power of grace. And the greatest form in which the grace of God takes in our lives is self-knowledge, spiritual knowledge, the ultimate knowledge of the ultimate reality, the saving knowledge, that which liberates us from samsara, that which removes all sorrow and fulfills us at once, that knowledge. And that was imparted by Dakshinamurti to these 4 sages. But the way he imparted it is also interesting, and that has forever been associated with Dakshinamurti. He imparted it in silence. He didn't teach. I mean, he didn't speak, didn't give lectures or retreats. He sat in silence, and the sages were illumined. Maunam vyakhyanam. The teaching was in silence. Shishyastu chinna samshaya. The disciples had all their doubts removed. Guru yuva, the guru is a youth. And the shishya, the disciples are ancient sages. Although I don't know how, maybe they had become ancient by that time. So they were sort of newborn, but anyway. So the vriddha shishya, the shishyas, the disciples are advanced in age and the teacher is young. You know, there's absolutely really no doubt when Shankaracharya composed this, I think he was talking about himself, because he was 16 years old. And some of his disciples at least were older than him, much older than him. And the teaching was in silence. I read this beautiful story. I mean, it's an actual event, it happened. Ramana Maharshi, whom also people consider an emanation of Shiva. One day, and it was Shivaratri, the most auspicious night of Shiva, Shivaratri. After the puja, evening puja was over, they gathered around Ramana Maharshi in that chamber. And a sadhu, a monk who was there in that gathering, stood up and said, "This is a very auspicious occasion, the occasion of Shivaratri. Please teach us Dakshinamurti Stotra of Shankaracharya. Please teach us Dakshinamurti Stotra of Shankaracharya." And Ramana Maharshi said, "So be it." And he said, "Please sit down." And that monk sat down. And the small group of devotees who were around, they sat around him. But he did not speak. Ramana Maharshi sat in absolute silence. And a deep silence pervaded that small gathering. And the account goes, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and the gathering, they just sat still, motionless, absorbed in a silence one knows not what. And at 4 a.m., 8 hours had passed. 4 a.m., Ramana Maharshi, exactly at that hour, he said, "So now have you understood the teaching of Dakshinamurti?" And the gathering, they got up, they bowed down to him and left in silence. So that is a most powerful demonstration of what Dakshinamurti is. But don't worry, I won't do that to you. So that's the real teaching, the teaching in silence. That's made for the advanced student. One is reminded of Swami Vivekananda. He is sitting under the mango tree in Belur Mutt, and a gathering of people from Calcutta and other places have come and sitting around him. And this question comes of, first of all, you have to be enlightened before you do work in the world and all of that, to see Brahman, realize Brahman. And Swami Vivekananda said, "Do not seek, just see, hear it, here is Brahman." Here, it says so emphatically, "Here is Brahman, just see." And something happened. The people who are there, I've written later on. In that courtyard, like a wave of power spreading through it, they were stunned into silence. They became absorbed within. Different people to different levels. They sat quietly, very still, in the presence of Vivekananda. Most startling of all was Swami Premananda, another disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, who had gone to the shrine, what's the old shrine, if you've gone to Belur Math, the old shrine. He had come down from there after the puja and carrying the plate of offerings, flowers and incense and fruit and all. He was going to do the puja of the Ganga. So he would come down from there and walk down to the Ganga. At that time he was coming down. He was not part of this gathering. He was not part of the conversation. When Swami Vivekananda said, "Here is Brahman, see. Do not seek, see Brahman, here is Brahman." The description is so vivid. Swami Premananda with the tray of flowers and incense and all, he, one step in front of the other, he stopped. Samadhi. Absorbed in Samadhi. He stopped like that with the plate in his hand, and like a picture he became absorbed in Samadhi. This is the most pure mind, the most advanced mind. The greatest effect is there on that person. Although he just caught it on the margins of that wave of power from Swami Vivekananda. He was walking past. He stood still there, absorbed in Samadhi, like a statue, like a picture. After a long while, it's not recorded how long, Swami Vivekananda quietly said, "Brother Baburam, you can go now. Baburam da, ever jao." And he started walking. One step in front of the other, then the steps. And then he walked away. And the spell was broken. So this is the teaching, the most powerful teaching. We shall have occasion here also. What is this teaching in silence? We shall use the silence of this place. How to become aware of the witness of the silence. When the outside is quiet and the body is stilled, be careful not to move the body. Don't be tense, be relaxed, but don't move. And then close the eyes, sit still, can't plug the ears, and then look inwards, attention, still the mind. First of all, stilling the mind means stop talking inwardly. Yes, outside, we are not talking, Swami, well, not outwardly, but inwardly we are talking. The mind is chattering. Stop that inward chattering of the mind. In absolute quiet. And then drop that quietness also. You'll plunge into a deeper quietness, a deeper silence. In that profound silence, this poet, she has written, silence, solitude. This is one kind of solitude, is the solitude of the sailor on the high seas. Imagine a little boat and one man sailing on the ocean. What kind of solitude it will be. He says, greater than that, she writes, Emily Dickinson, she writes, greater than that is the solitude of death. When we are sitting close to a person who has just passed away. Or maybe the person has passed away and we enter the room. Someone beloved, someone close. The room is empty forever now. And there is a silence there. There's a solitude there. And you go in there and sit. And then the poet writes, these shall be society. This is like society compared to that polar silence, the polar solitude of a soul turned within itself. So this, you turn into yourself. The world gone, the body stilled, the breath even, the mind and speech stilled, turn inwards. In that complete silence, that polar silence. That's also an experience. To what or to whom is that experience happening? Go into that silence with this, with the mind seeded with this question. Seed the mind with this question. I am going into a profound silence. To whom or to what is this silence appearing? Don't try to answer it. If you try to answer it, the mind will speak again. Just stay there. That one, the witness of the silence of the mind, is awareness, is consciousness, is pure consciousness. That is Dakshinamurti. Note again when we come out of that silence, when the mind starts chattering, our senses start working, and we engage with the world, that silence, that shining silence, the Buddhists call it the luminous void, a luminous emptiness. It's emptiness, but it's luminous. That one alone is still there. It is by the light of that one alone, the one which illumined that silence in the depths of that silence, in the light of that itself, we are able to see, hear, smell, taste, touch. It is that same one there, right now. It is forever with you because it is you. What's it made of? It's made of emptiness and luminosity, of being and awareness. In Sanskrit, Sat and Chit. It's not a thing. It is pure being. We'll explore all that soon. And Dakshinamurti teaches us that. So that's the teaching in silence. To what is the silence appearing? It's you. But you'll notice the nature of that you is a presence, an existence and awareness. An existence which is also luminosity. So that's you. Now, that silence, Dakshinamurti teaches, the highest teaching is in silence. The next teaching, which Dakshinamurti does, is through a hand gesture called a mudra. Mudraya bhadraya prakati karoti. So Dakshinamurti manifests this teaching, is instructing us. One is through the silence, highest. If you say, I don't get it. Then the next step down, one step down, is through this gesture. This is called in Sanskrit chin mudra. The mudra, the hand gesture of consciousness, of awareness. Chin mudra. Here, like this. If you see the iconography of Dakshinamurti, one of the hands will be in this mudra. This is the instruction. The same instruction which you got through silence, you're getting through this also. What does this mean? As long as we are like this, I, the ego, I, the self, I am attached to these three other fingers. This for one finger is attached to these three other fingers, attached to these three fingers. Right now this is our state. This small finger is the body, physical body. Middle is the mind, intellect, our thoughts, our memories, our narrative about ourselves, our story about ourselves, our knowledge, our likes and dislikes, our conditioning, all of that, good and bad, that's this one. And this finger, the third one here, is what is called the causal body. So basically take it as a seed state. Into which we merge in deep sleep, for example, at the point of death, for example, which contains all the seeds of our personality. These three together, first one is called the Sthula Sharira, physical body. The second one is called Sukshma Sharira, subtle body. Third one is called Karana Sharira, causal body. Not casual, causal body. A casual wear, causal wear. We wear these three bodies. This one is wearing three layers of clothing. The causal body, the subtle body, and the physical body. Karana Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira. I'm giving you one interpretation, the most direct one. There are others we will see later. And as long as we are like this is our present state. Our sense, our identity, who am I? It sticks, it's very sticky to these three. These three are always together. So this one sticks to these three. And we feel, I am this. Who are you? This. What is this? I. Who am I? This. What is all this? I. And see, this is what it is. Dakshinamurti shows us shows us that how we are not these three. Right now, we are not these three. We are, with this, by seeing that we are not these three, we are able to detach. Detach means we understand. Right here. Don't worry, you're not going to have an out-of-body experience. But We understand that we are not this body, not the subtle body, not the causal body. And now we are free to realize our nature as limitless consciousness. This one. This one. As we detach, as we understand the difference between physical body, subtle body, and causal body, then this one is now sees itself as consciousness, pure consciousness. This is the whole teaching of Dakshinamurti, to take us from this to this. And this pure consciousness is immortal, beyond all fear, beyond all want, ever fulfilled. You will see it immediately that this is so. All of this has been taught here. So what was taught in silence is also taught like this, just by this gesture. And for those students who don't get it, what does this mean? By the way, anthropologists have said this, the opposable thumb, this is at the root of all civilization. It seems human beings only, and now they say some higher apes also can do this. Others cannot generally detach this finger, and they cannot use it, the thumb, to flex and hold instruments. The reason why we are able to manipulate tools, it seems, is because of this opposable thumb, this one. The whole of human civilization comes from this, the ability to do this. But not just civilization, not just our technologically marvelous civilization, but also spiritual realization is this. Now suppose one does not understand that also. What does that mean? Still I don't get it. Then in words, the first expression of language which teaches this teaching, self-knowledge, is Om, Pranavarthaya. The meaning of the Pranava, meaning of Om. Same meaning. Om is same meaning. I will not explain Om here because he does not teach it directly. And more detailed explanation if you want, Dakshinamurti Stotra. The Dakshinamurti, the hymn to Dakshinamurti. The original hymn was written by Adi Shankaracharya. 10 verses are there, 10 mantras which packs in the entirety of Vedanta, the Vedantic teaching, which we shall study. There are a number of associated mantras, a number of associated shlokas or verses which are chanted, which were composed by others, are drawn from other texts, may not have been composed by Shankaracharya. In fact, the verse which I chanted just now, Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namah. That which is God, that which is Guru, and that which is the Self. The three are one. There are three forms. One is the cosmic form called God. One is the gracious form of Guru. In that case, in the original case, it was Dakshinamurti himself. And the other one is the student. But all three are the same. How are they the same? They are all one limitless consciousness. Like the sky, which includes everything, pervades everything, like the sky. Vyoma, Vat, Vyapta, all pervading consciousness. It is the same one which appears as God. It is the same one which appears as the Guru. It is the same one which appears as the Self. That all-pervasive consciousness. Deha means body. Here it means, in this verse, it means Swarupa, real nature. The real nature of Dakshinamurti is this all-pervasive consciousness, which you are, which your Guru is, and which God is. All three, that one all-pervasive consciousness is called Dakshinamurti. I bow down to that. This verse is often chanted, but it was not composed by Shankaracharya. It was composed by Sureshwaracharya. Sureshwaracharya is one of the prime disciples, one of the great disciples of Adi Shankaracharya, direct disciple, who composed many works on Shankaracharya's works, commentaries, sub-commentaries on Shankaracharya's commentaries. Shankaracharya wrote commentaries on Upanishads, on the Brahma Sutras, on the Bhagavad Gita. Sureshwaracharya wrote a number of sub-commentaries called Vartika. Shankaracharya's commentaries are called Bhashya. The Bhashya sets up an interpretation of the original texts, like the Upanishads and Gita and Brahma Sutras, especially Upanishads. It sets up an interpretation, a school of thought. Shankaracharya's interpretation is the non-dual school of thought. So Shankaracharya, in our tradition, is called Bhashyakara, the great commentator. In the Himalayas, instead of saying Adi Shankaracharya, often you will hear the term Bhagavan Bhashyakara, the Lord commentator. The Lord commentator means Shankaracharya. And in that tradition, Sureshwaracharya is called Vartikakara, the composer of the sub-commentary called the Vartika. It's a particular kind of commentary, sub-commentary. What does it do? The Bhashya, the original commentary, sets up a system of philosophy. The Vartika supplements it. Ukta nukta duruktancha. What does that sound? It sounds very profound and intimidating. It means, Ukta means said. Whatever was said by Shankaracharya, I shall endeavor to explain. Durukta, said in a difficult way. So I'll aim to elucidate. Anukta, fill in the blanks. If Shankaracharya, I feel, has left something unsaid which he should have said, I will fill in the blanks. So that's the role of Sureshwaracharya. Among the works which Sureshwaracharya has composed, extensive works, and they are one of the pillars of Advaita Vedanta school, the school of non-dual Vedanta. One is called the Manasullasa Vartika, the waves of delight of the mind, spiritual delight. So this Vartika, this work is a commentary on Shankaracharya's Dakshinamurti Stotra. So Shankaracharya wrote 10 verses of the Dakshinamurti Stotra, and Sureshwaracharya wrote dozens of verses on each of the verses of Shankaracharya. And that becomes this book. So it's Dakshinamurti Stotra with the commentary of Sureshwaracharya. One of the verses that Sureshwaracharya composed while commenting on the first verse of the Dakshinamurti Stotra is the verse which I chanted. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. It became so popular that in the Himalayas, if you go to Vedanta classes, and the monks will teach, people gather around and listen, they start the classes with a series of invocations. One of those invocations will invariably be this one. My salutations to that limitless pure consciousness called Dakshinamurti, which appears as God and the Guru and the student. A deeper meaning of this verse is like this. Which verse? This initial verse is, in every knowledge, there are three. The thing to be known, the person knowing, and the instrument of knowledge. The thing to be known, Sanskrit, prameyam. The person knowing, the knower, the student, pramata. And the instrument of knowledge, pramanam. So these three together are called Triputi, the triple foundation of epistemology, of all knowledge. You have a knower, a subject, and you have an object of knowledge, and an instrument by which you know. So for example, you are seeing all this. So you are the knower, pramata. And this whole, with whatever you're seeing, is prameyam, object of knowledge. And your eyes are the pramanam. Of course, light is required, the mind is required, all of that is required. But the eyes are the main source of knowledge for visual perception. So these three are required. Now, in Vedanta, in self-knowledge, enlightenment, what are the three? God, Brahman, ultimate reality, whatever you call it. The student, the self, the jiva. And what is the instrument of knowledge? To see the whole. Mind, you plus your eyes gives you knowledge of the whole. To hear the sound. You, the knower, plus your ears gives you knowledge of the sound. So the question now will be, you plus what will give you knowledge of God? Vedanta. Vedanta is the pramana. Technically, Vedanta is the pramana. And the Vedanta is transmitted through the Guru. So here Guru stands for Vedanta. For example, in this case, in our case, what is the source of knowledge? Dakshinamurti Stotra. It basically is the summary of the knowledge of the Upanishads. So it is Vedanta. All Vedantic texts are like that. They'll all tell you exactly the same. Hundreds and hundreds of texts of a wide variety of authors and across the millennia. They all tell you the same thing. So this pramanam, this text, here is represented by the Guru, because the Guru transmits it. So now you have three. Goal of spiritual life, Ishvara, God, in whatever form we shall see, in whatever the nature is. And you are the seeker, they are the seekers, the knowers. And the pramanam, the source of knowledge, is Vedanta, here represented by Guru. Now what does this verse say? Prameyam, the object of your quest of your, object of your quest, what you want to know, God, ultimate reality, Brahman, whatever it is. And the source of knowledge, represented by the Guru. And you, the knower, all three are one actually. And what is that one? It is pure consciousness. Here it is called Dakshinamurti. That one I salute. Very interesting quest for knowledge. Here we are seeking that which I am. Here the knower is seeking the knower himself or herself. You are seeking yourself. You are not seeking a separate object of knowledge. So this is the meaning of this verse, Dakshinamurti Stotra, of this salutation, which we will chant every time we start this session. The entire stotra will be played at the beginning of each session, and then we'll start the classes. The first one will be this evening, Arati, then dinner, and then we start Dakshinamurti Stotra. The methodology is the same for all Vedanta classes. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Listen. Let us listen carefully. Silence will not work for us. It will work. Once we have listened carefully, then this symbol, which summarizes the entire teaching. You can take away the entire teaching of the entire retreat, all the sessions, just by this. And when you apply it to yourself, when we apply it to ourselves in our own experience, we will see what that silence, how this whole teaching translates into that luminous silence. Not just a silence, luminous silence, a shining silence. The clear light of the void, using Buddhist terminology, which is sort of anathema in this context, but clear light of the void, the luminous silence. It will become very clear. That's the whole takeaway. Listen, let us listen carefully. Shravana is most important. Next is manana. Think about what we have heard. And then meditation. Meditation is basically meditation on the silence, on the witness of the silence. Shravana, manana, nididhyasana. Thinking would be, the kind of thinking is, have I understood what the teacher has said? What did the teacher say, and have I understood it? And apply it to oneself. Apply it to oneself means, because we are talking about you, we are talking about ourselves, our most innermost nature. So it is applicable to ourselves. It is applicable to us right now. This Vedanta is about us right now. It's not about something that will happen later. Swami, it's after, not after death. Post-mortem spirituality, no. Not even after enlightenment. After enlightenment, we'll only come to see what already existed. So what we will see after enlightenment is what is already there. Is right now it's there. Not one bit more will be there. See, look at these 5 fingers. What you see now is also what you see now. Not that many more fingers were added or some fingers disappeared, nothing. Exactly the same 5 fingers, and you see the same 5 fingers. This way. So let us listen carefully, most important. Think about what we have heard, and one very good way of thinking about it is to continuously apply it and see whether it is true. Do I get it in terms of, if it is true that it's all applicable right now, it should be obvious. It's like a pointing out. If I point out that, listen to the sound, here is a bell. It's not theoretical. You're hearing it right now. See the cloth. It's not theoretical. You're seeing it right now. So, like that. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्टान्तेव सदृशिगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपम् स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमाराधे त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानम् शिष्यास्तु छिन्नसंशयाः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चिद्घनाय महेशाय वटमूलनिवासिने सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरे तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यत्साक्षात् कुनुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावेव विजृम्भयत्यपि महा योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रिता यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेद् न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्बोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहा दीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिः स्पन्दते जानामीति तमैव बन्धम् अनुभात्येतत्समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपि चलाम् बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्धजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहा व्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्तदिवाकरेन्दुसदृशः मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रकरणोपसंहरणतः यो भूत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बाल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानम् अहमित्यन्तःस्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजताम् यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामि सम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पितृपुत्राद्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जाग्रति वाय एष पुरुषः मायापरिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्भांस्यनलो निलोम्बरमहर्नाथो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदम् यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् नान्यत्किञ्चन विद्यते विमृशताम् यस्मात् परस्मात् विभोः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदम् यस्मादमुष्मिंस्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानाच्च संकीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितं स्यात् ईश्वरत्वं स्वतः सिद्ध्येतत्पुनरष्टधा परिणतं च ऐश्वर्यमव्याहतम्
So the legend goes that the great sages, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara, the four great sages, they went in search of self-knowledge, enlightenment. And this was granted to them by Shiva in the form of Dakshinamurti. Now, the Dakshinamurti Stotra, which we are going to study, this text for the next 3 days, was composed by Adi Shankaracharya. It has one primary purpose and two secondary purposes. The secondary purposes are that one can worship Dakshinamurti as Shiva, and as it is done. It's quite popular in India. So the iconography, the image of Dakshinamurti is worshipped. That's the ritualistic part of it. You can have a full worship, puja, upasana of Dakshinamurti. And the second use would be a verbal. You chant it devotionally. Many Hindu families, especially in the south of India, it's a regular devotional practice to chant the Dakshinamurti Stotram devotionally. So there we are worshipping Shiva, not through a ritualistic worship, but by a verbal worship, by a devotional chanting like a prayer. That's another use. But these two uses, the ritualistic worship and the verbal worship, these are the secondary uses. The primary purpose of Dakshinamurti Stotra is to transmit self-knowledge, is to transmit knowledge about the ultimate nature of ourselves. This is the saving knowledge of the Vedanta, which takes one beyond sorrow, which gives one ultimate fulfillment. Atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda praptischa, taking you beyond sorrow and giving you fulfillment. As the Bhagavad Gita says, that reality is revealed in which, centered in which one sees that there is nothing greater to get. Yan labdho na chaparam labha manyate tato adhikam. Having attained which, one feels that there is nothing greater to attain. Centered in which reality, yasmin sthito dukkhena guruna api na vichalyate. The heaviest of sorrows cannot shake you. That knowledge is transmitted through this Dakshinamurti Stotram. It's composed by Shankaracharya more than 1300 years ago. There is a wonderful, wonderful commentary on the Dakshinamurti Stotra called the Manasollasa commentary by Sureshwaracharya, who was one of the great direct disciples of Adi Shankaracharya. So these are the two texts on which I will rely, and some commentary, some explanations also. And we will study it over the next few days. This text is a little advanced. In what sense? The very first verse which we will study this evening, and this is in one sense one of the most beautiful verses in all of Vedantic literature, and probably the most important verse of the entire stotra. Of 10 verses, this first one is the most important one. So the takeaway today is the most important takeaway. We will study this, but it's a little advanced. In what sense it is advanced? Before I start, let me just tell you. Vedanta starts with Atma-anatma, viveka, the discernment of the self from the non-self. Not nonsense, non-self. Often it is nonsense, but because the great claim of Vedanta is that we truly do not know who or what we are. And also, if we would truly know what we are, all our problems would be solved at a deep level. Why I'm using all the words carefully. A deep level means not that your financial problems, your relationship problems, your political, social problems will be solved immediately. They may be helped eventually. But what will be solved is this sense of being bound in samsara, of suffering, of limitation, of the sense of birth and death, and all of these, the suffering caused by samsara. This will be solved. This will be removed. So if you know yourself, if we know ourselves as we are, as we truly are, then that means it's implied that we do not know ourselves as we truly are. Therefore, what we think of ourselves instinctively, naturally, Vedanta says it's wrong, or it's only very surface level. In fact, let's be open, it's wrong. It's just wrong, plain wrong. We think without any further investigation, I am this person. I am this body, this biological machine, and I am this mind, this personality, thoughts, emotions, memories, and I'm going through life. There are millions and billions like me. I had a birth, and I guess I am quite sure I'm going to die, and I'm going through ups and downs in life. It's an uneven journey. It's sort of a common life story for everybody. Whoever we are, wherever we are, whenever we have lived or will live, this is our idea. And Vedanta says this is wrong. We do not know what you truly are. What we think you are not. So first of all, Vedanta tries to show us that what we think we are, it tries to show us that we are not that. We are not the body, not the mind. So the first step of Atma-anatma, viveka, the discernment of the self from the not self, is to see that what we thought was the self, this body, this personality, I just thought I am this. Vedanta says, no, you are not. And then it shows us how through reasoning based on experience, experiential reasoning, our present experience and reasoning based on that. We are told, for example, consider the body. Notice that how the body changes dramatically over its lifespan, from birth to babyhood to childhood to teenage to youth to middle age and old age and eventually death. Sixfold changes occur to the body. It is. It comes into being. It was not there. It's conceived. Then it is born into existence. Then it grows. It changes, matures, decays, and dies. Notice that you consider yourself to be the same one. That which was in the baby's body, I was the same one who was in the child's body, in the teenager's body, in the young person's body, in the middle-aged person's body, in the old person's body. So, I am the same one. I have an intuitive feeling of identity, unchanging identity. The dramatic changes which the body underwent, one might argue here, hold on, but I also changed so much. But you'll notice, when you say I changed so much, if you try to trace the changes, you're talking about the changes of the body. If you see the body as an object and you see it as changing, apart from the changes of the body, you will see that I have a continuous identity throughout. Not only is it psychological, that I psychologically feel I am the same one who was there in the baby's body, in the teenager's body, young person's, middle-aged person's body. But common sense tells me that. The law tells me that. You're the same person. The person who went to school, the person who got a job, and person who is here now is the same person. Your identity papers tell you that. Your financial papers, your legal papers tell you that. Common sense tells you that. So all of us, we say we are the same person, and yet the body changes dramatically. Changing and unchanging cannot be the same thing. Another argument used is the drashta and drishya. It's my favorite, it's a powerful one. Whatever we experience is an object of experience, and I am the experiencer. I am seeing with the eyes, and the book is something that is seen. The book and the eyes cannot be the same thing. In fact, the eyes cannot see a thing which is not at some distance from the eyes. Whatever the eyes see must be different from the eyes, physically different. Otherwise, the eyes cannot see them. So, whatever is seen is different from the seer. This is at the gross physical level, eyes and the object seen. But consider it psychologically also. I, the observer of the eyes and the body, I am the mind. The mind is different from the eyes. And in this way, we see that I am different from, I cannot be the body because the body is seen. In fact, the body is objectified by all my senses. By sight, I can see the body. By touch, I can touch the body. Internally also, I feel the body. Your tummy ache, it is a kind of touch, a feeling inside. You can smell the body, taste the body. You can hear the rumblings in the tummy or even your pulse beating if in a very quiet place. So, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, all the senses objectify the body. You are the seer of the body, the knower of the body, therefore you are not the body. It's a strange way of thinking, but it's a fact. A doctor once wrote to me saying that, a very nice email, that I had an epiphany. I was suddenly struck by the fact that this thing which I've been examining for 30 years of my life, scanning and probing and getting information, it's a thing, it's not me. Or the way he put it was, where in this biological machine am I? Where? Which one am I? It's worth meditating upon. It's a medical, pathologist meditation, or even if you are operating a scanning machine, it's a meditation. Where in this machine am I? Which one? Which part of it is me, I? No. It's observed, it's a thing. And another argument could be Chetana Jada. I am conscious of the body. That which I am conscious of is an object, insentient. I am sentient and the object is insentient. In Sanskrit, Chetana Jada. See, we all feel aware. Right now, we all feel aware. And we are aware of the body. The body is something we are aware of. Like you are aware of my words. You are aware of seeing this place. You are similarly aware of the body. And the body is something we are aware of. So awareness is on my side. So when I look at this book, I am the seer, the book is the seen. That's one argument. But now if I ask, let me, in my own experience, where is awareness? This way or that way? I am aware of this. I don't get the experience that is aware of me. I am aware of this. Awareness is on my side, and everything that comes to awareness is an object to awareness. At this point, you might object to this. You might say, that's all right for the book, but when I look at my neighbor who's sitting next to me, I am aware of that person, and they are aware of me. Yes, but you are not aware of their awareness. You can be aware of their body, you can be aware of their behavior, you can be aware of their language, you can be aware of their expressions. But you can, if you're a telepath, you can read their mind, you can be aware of their thoughts. But you can't be aware of their awareness. Notice, very interesting. So, awareness is on your side, you are aware, and the body is one thing which you are aware of. Intimately aware, all the time, most of the time, we are aware of the body. Aware, not aware, cannot be the same thing. So, changing and unchanging, I am unchanging, body is continuously changing, I cannot be the body. I am the seer and the seen, I am the seer and the body is the seen. Seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched. So, the body is the object, and I am the knower of that, I am the experiencer, subject. Seer and the seen cannot be the same thing, therefore I am not the body. The conscious and the not conscious cannot be the same thing. Sentient and insentient, I am sentient, I am aware. And the body is something I am aware of. I and the body cannot be the same thing. So these are arguments. And these are experiential arguments. Notice, they are not theoretical or speculative. Each of them has an experiential component. You can note that experience and try to absorb that argument and see whether it's a fact or not. So it's like trying to convince you. It's like a lawyer tries to convince a jury. So, battery of arguments to show that I cannot literally be this system of flesh and blood and bones and organs and tissues and cells. It's an amazing thing, but it's not me. It's not I. I am here, but it's not I. It's not literally that. It's not that this is me and I am that. Not like that. Similarly, more dramatically, we are told in Vedanta that you are not even the mind. Same arguments. The mind changes dramatically. In one day, so many changes. Fleeting thoughts, emotions, perceptions, memories, desires. Waking, dreaming, sleeping. These are states of the mind. Waking, dreaming, sleeping are states of the mind. Changes. And I am the same one. The one who was happy is now unhappy. The one who was feeling healthy is now feeling sick. The one who was feeling alert may be feeling sleepy. But I am the same one. Alert and sleepy, happy, unhappy, these are states of the mind. The mind has changed. I did not change. So, I am the same one. I am the same one means, someone might argue here, notice the argument. Why can I not be the changing mind? I am happy, and the mind became unhappy. I am unhappy. So I am the changing mind. One sadhu said, "Wah, मैं गधा भी और घोड़ा भी." I'm the horse and I am the ass, the donkey also. No, but if you pay attention, something changed dramatically. And I did not change dramatically there. I am the one who experienced the happy mind. I am the one who is experiencing the sad mind. If I change dramatically, then I wouldn't say that I experienced the happy mind. Because the happy mind and the sad mind are exclusive. They are different from each other. A is different from B. And if I am associated with A and I am associated with B, then I cannot be A or B. A became B. Happy became sad. If I am the same one, that one I was happy and now I am sad, I am literally that happiness or sadness, then I cannot be the same one. I would have changed also. So I am something that experiences the changing body, that experiences the changing mind. Therefore I am unchanging. Whatever I am, but it's not the changing mind. Similarly, seer of the mind, drashta and drishya. I am going fast. Why? Because Shankaracharya assumes all of this before he starts. I am the drashta, the seer. The mind is the seen. I experience the mind. Therefore, I am not the mind. And even more amazing, now we are going beyond the boundaries of modern consciousness studies also. Mind is not conscious. In one sense it is. We will see later in this stotra. Shankaracharya will give detailed explanations. But I am conscious of the mind. I am conscious. In me, the consciousness, the mind, the thoughts, emotions, judgments, memories are revealed like objects. The mind is also an object or a series of subtle objects. Thoughts are objects. At this point, someone may say, Swami, define an object. What do you mean by an object? Anything you are aware of is an object. Anything you are aware of. Externally, I am aware of this room. It's an object. I am aware of the sound of your voice. It's an object. I am aware of the sensations of the body. That's an object. The sensations themselves are object. Body is an object. The sensations are also an object because you are aware of it. I am aware of my thoughts. That's an object. The thought is an object. My desires, my emotions, then they are also objects. You are that which is aware of those, illumines those, reveals those thoughts, objects, emotions. The thoughts, emotions, memories and so on. So the mind is also an object. I am the consciousness aware of the mind. Of the contents of the mind. Therefore, I am not the mind. This consciousness which I am, this witness of the body, ever-changing mind, this witness which is the seer of the body and the seer of the mind, this awareness which is aware of the insentient body and the insentient mind. I'm using the words insentient mind carefully. You will see later, maybe tomorrow, day after, why one has to be careful there. Therefore, I am this consciousness, this witness consciousness. This is the nature of the self, Atma. So up to this is what is called Atma-anatma, viveka, the discernment of the self from the not self. And already it's a huge, huge step forward. This is not normally how we think. So we have already learned something new. We've already been told something novel and new. A simple a pandit, not a simple man, a complex man. A pandit went to a monk in the Himalayas and he was arguing that Swami, Dvaita Satya hai. Duality is real. Difference is real. Duality is real. And the Swami said, I'll tell you in Hindi and translate. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi nayi cheez batao. Dvait Satya hai, wo gau bhi janti hai. Pandit ho to koi If you are a Pandit, if you claim to be a man of scholarship and learning, tell me something new, because duality is real, difference is real. Even yonder cow knows it. The cow knows that the grass is different from me and I need to eat it and put it in my tummy. So I am different from the grass, which I am going to eat now. Even the cow knows that. If you are a Pandit, tell me something new. So here the Vedantin has told us something new, which we didn't know, we didn't even think about. That what I took to be for granted, never ever thought of taking a look at it. This body mind which I took to be myself is actually not me, on very good experiential and logical grounds. At this point, Shankaracharya starts. All our Vedanta which we do normally, you will see, verse after verse will be expended on showing you how you are not the body, how you are not the mind. In another famous Stotra, the Nirvana Shatakam, 6 verses on Nirvana, Shankaracharya starts with, I am not the mind, not the intellect, not the buddhi, not the ego. Mano buddhya hankara chittani naham. Do you remember? Chidananda rupa shivoham. Yes. All that is assumed. He doesn't even mention it. He thinks we are advanced. We are. So, having done so many retreats, so all that's done. Now Shankaracharya starts. Next question will be, if I am the witness consciousness, if I am awareness, in Sanskrit, Chaitanya, Chit, Chiti, many words are there, Samvit. So, what is my relationship with the not self? I am awareness, and I am aware of the mind, I'm aware of the senses, I'm aware of the body, I'm aware of the chair and the hall and other people, I'm aware also indirectly of a great universe surrounding me. What is the relationship between me, the awareness, and this world, and this body, and indeed even this mind? Because I have separated myself from the mind in my understanding. What is now the relationship between consciousness, awareness, you, and the world you inhabit? What is the relationship between Atma and Anatma? They're separated, but now what relationship? Here it starts. The first amazing verse, one of the most beautiful, poetic, profound verses of a whole Vedantic literature. Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam pashyannatmani mayaya bahirivodbhutam yatha nidraya yasakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanamevadvayam tasmai shri gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurti. Beautiful. To him who by illusion of the Atman as by sleep sees the universe existing within himself, like a city seen to exist within a mirror, as though it were manifested without. To him who beholds when awake his very own self, the secondless. To him who is incarnate in the teacher, to him in the effulgent form facing the south, Dakshinamurti, to him be this prostration, this salutation. Okay. To explain Advaita, non-duality, Shankaracharya introduces 2 examples, 2 metaphors to help us understand. First, we must understand the example thoroughly. And then we will see what is the teaching. Remember, what is the theme? The theme is what is the relationship between me, the consciousness, and everything that I experience. What's the relationship between me and all of this universe? That's the question. And to understand that, to understand the teaching of non-duality, which will be Atma-advaitam, I, the self, the entire universe is not a second reality apart from me. Everything and everyone we experience, including this body, including this mind, for all time to come, indeed time itself and space itself, none of this is other than me. I alone am shining forth in all these ways. This is the great teaching of non-duality which will be given. Because remember, as self and not self, consciousness and object, still duality persists. Two. Earlier duality was of this form. I am this one and everything else is separate from me. Even the chair I'm sitting on is separate from me. Now all I have achieved is I am awareness. And mind is separate from me, senses are separate from me, body is separate from me, and indeed the world is separate from me. But what this separate world, body, mind, what is its relation to me? That is the question we are discussing now. To understand that, two examples. The famous example of the city in the mirror. Now I mentioned this earlier also, one of my childhood memories, that with my parents, I was a little kid at that time, driving from Cuttack to Bhubaneswar. It's on the eastern coast of India. And in the evening, as the car approached the city, I could see the lights of the city twinkling in the driving mirror of the car. I don't know why that struck me so much as a child. I still have a vivid memory of it. I didn't know what Dakshinamurti Stotram was, what the city in the mirror example is. Years later when I read it, I was startled to see such a beautiful imagery, and I immediately related it with my childhood experience. Maybe I'd studied the Dakshinamurti Stotra in a retreat in a past life. That's why there was a memory. Now, Shankaracharya says, imagine a city in the mirror. City in the mirror means city reflected in the mirror. Now, immediately we will say, all right, that's not difficult to understand. There is a city outside, and if you see the mirror, the city will be, or part of the city will be reflected in the mirror. You have to forget the city outside. Just take the mirror and see what's reflected. The Shankaracharya did not have the benefit of these screens, TV screens, monitors, on which you can see a city. Without there being a city outside, you can see the city in there. That he would have loved that. He would have used, instead of city in the mirror, he would have said city in the monitor. But somehow it's not as beautiful as city in the mirror. So now, just fix in your mind the mirror in which a city is appearing. City means buildings and roads and parks and a skyline. You can imagine, whenever we go into Manhattan, there's always at one point there'll be a spectacular view of the Manhattan skyline. Imagine all of that reflected in the driving mirror of the car. Now notice certain factors, certain features of this example. This is important. Once we understand the example, we'll apply it to consciousness. One is that the mirror is the ground of the city in the mirror. The mirror is the support of the city in the mirror. The mirror is the basis of all the reflections. What do I mean by that? Whatever you see in the city in the mirror, the buildings, there the mirror is. What is the mirror? The glass. If you see the buildings of the city in that mirror, if you try to touch, what will you touch? Glass. Where you see the roads of the city in the mirror, if you try to touch the road, what will you touch? Glass. The parks, the people there, even the sky and the birds flying or aeroplanes flying in the sky which you see in the mirror, if you touch it, glass, mirror, mirror, mirror. That means wherever, number one, wherever there is a reflection, whatever the reflection is, there the mirror must be. By definition, you can't have a reflection without the mirror. So the entire city, the ground, the support, in Sanskrit, adhisthana. The ground, the support, the basis is the mirror of the city. That is the basis. One more thing. Another feature. In the city in the mirror, if you look in the mirror, what do you see in the city? Buildings, roads, parks, skyline, cars, people. But actually in the mirror there are no buildings. Actually in the mirror there are no roads. Actually in the mirror there is no bird flying or aeroplane flying or people walking around or parks. Nothing. It's glass, glass and glass. There's nothing there. It's just the reflecting medium, the glass and the reflection. What I mean by that is, in the city, in the city here, actually in New Jersey, there are real buildings and real roads, and there better be. But in the city in the mirror, there are no real buildings or people or parks or roads, nothing. It's just glass. It looks like that. It looks like a building. There isn't a building there. It looks like a road and a car. There's no car, no road there. It's reflections, images, appearances. Mirror satyam, city mithya. Mirror is real, the city is an appearance, is false, is an appearance. The reality is the mirror, the city is an appearance. Is this understood? Remember, these are not teachings. This is something that we all understand. I'm just bringing out what we if you say I don't understand, then we cannot proceed. This is just common sense. This is how we understand a mirror and a reflection to be. Just these features will be used next. Then another feature. Nothing in the city in the mirror, nothing in that city can affect the mirror. Suppose you see an explosion in the city. You can see it in the mirror. Will the mirror become hot? Will the mirror burn up? No. Suppose you see a river or a lake in that reflected city. Will the mirror become wet? No. Yeah. Suppose you see a tremendous storm. Will the mirror be, will become dusty, or will it be flooded? Nothing. The mirror is not affected by the reflection. Nothing in the reflection affects the mirror. The mirror is unattached to the reflection. Asanga, not attached. Why not? Because there's a deep reason. The real cannot be affected by an appearance. The real cannot be affected by an appearance. In the computer monitor, if you see a disaster, like a earthquake, a crack on the earth, will the monitor get cracked? Thank God it doesn't. If you have a cataclysm like a flood or a hurricane, will the monitor be smashed? No. An explosion, will the monitor burn up? No. Because what happens in the movie does not affect the television screen. Appearance does not affect reality. As Shankaracharya said, all the water in a mirage is not enough to wet one grain of sand of the desert. I still haven't got the pronunciation right. No? Desert, and desert. Desert, yes. I still keep struggling with it. And I'm in an honorable tradition. I was in Vedanta Society in St. Louis, in the room where Swami Sarvapriyananda lived. He was the founder of the Vedanta Society. In that room, all his old stuff is there. There's a diary in which the old Swami, in those days when he came to the United States in 1930s, is practicing English. With a pencil, a whole dictionary is copied there, many words. And one of the pages I opened and I saw, written 70, 80 years ago. Desert. That the one is a dry place, another one is what we deserve in life, the others are sweet. And the meanings are written, and the pronunciation and the emphasis is given. How hard they work to learn. All the water in the desert cannot, all the water in an oasis, in a mirage, not an oasis, in a mirage, cannot wet one grain of sand of the desert. Why? Because that water is not real water. It looks like water, but it cannot do anything to the real sand, the sand which we consider to be real. Then, because reality is not affected by appearance. And then one more point. This is a subtle one, but a very important one. This is basically the central teaching. It leads to the central teaching of the entire Dakshinamurti Stotram and Advaita Vedanta. The mirror is non-dual with respect to the city. If you see the city, what's there in the city? There's so many things in the city in the mirror. There are buildings, there are people, there are cars, and there are many roads, and there are parks full of various kinds of colorful trees and plants and flowers, especially in the fall. But if you count the mirror, how many things are there in the mirror? There is nothing but the mirror. Although 1,000 different things in the city appear. A city of 1,000 different features appears in the mirror, but there is only one and only one thing there. If a man comes, an accountant comes to take an audit, inventory, what will he count? He will count one mirror, one piece, and go on. Next item, one mirror. Even though 1,000 things are seen in the mirror, he will not count. He will not say, there's a mirror, and in the mirror there are a few buildings, and there are a few roads, and 10 cars. No. He will say it's a mirror. Count Inventory, mirror, one piece. Gone. That's it, done. So, the city of 1,000 or 1,000,000 different features is actually not a second reality apart from the mirror. If you count the mirror, there is only one, although it appears to be manifold. This is called Advaitam. Now, Shankaracharya says, original question, what is the relationship between you, the consciousness, and the world that you experience? This whole world, including the body, including our minds. What's the relationship? He says it's like a city in a mirror. Wherever and whenever and whatever you experience in the world, whatever, whoever, whenever, wherever you experience in the world, you are there. Consciousness is there. Consciousness is the ground of everything that is experienced. Like the mirror. Do you remember the first feature? Mirror is the support, ground, the basis of all reflections. Consciousness is the support, ground, basis of all objects experienced. Wherever you experience something, consciousness is there. It is not. Therefore, he is saying something interesting. Therefore, just as the reflections are not anything outside the mirror, the objects are not anything outside you, the consciousness. Our general idea is immediately when we think I am awareness, then there is the world outside which I am aware of. But no, Shankaracharya says it's not outside or inside. Even this concept of outside and inside is with respect to the body. There's something inside the body, something outside the body. But this inside the body and outside the body, both are appearing in consciousness only. So from the perspective of consciousness, the entire universe of objects, experienced objects, is in consciousness. Even not experienced objects are in consciousness, but we'll leave that aside for the time being. It's more difficult to grasp. Whatever we experience is experienced in consciousness. Whenever objects are experienced, whenever you experience the universe, you are there. Consciousness is there. Consciousness is the ground, the support, the basis, the adhisthana of all experience of the Jagat, Vishwam. The universe is experienced in consciousness, in you. You are the basis of the universe. Experienced universe. Second, what was the second feature we looked at? That the reflections, city in the mirror is an appearance. It's really a mirror, not really a city. Similarly, all the objects experienced in you, the consciousness, they are appearances in consciousness. In consciousness, there is, right now for example, I am aware, in me the awareness, this world, this hall, people are appearing. Is there a chair inside awareness? This is impossible. How can there be a chair inside awareness? There can be an appearance of a chair in awareness. Chair made of wood, metal, can it be there in awareness? No. What can be there in awareness? The appearance of a chair. Just like there's an appearance of a city in the mirror. In the mirror, can there be an actual building? In the mirror, can there be an actual park? No. Only the reflection can be there. Similarly, in consciousness, it says, actually separate objects, physical objects, or even subtle objects like thoughts are not there. They are all appearances in awareness. Awareness satyam, jagat mithya. So, awareness is the reality, and what you experience, what we experience in awareness, is just that. It's an appearance. They are appearances in awareness. The reality of those appearances is again awareness. The reality of the city seen in the mirror is the mirror, not the city. The reality of the world is awareness, consciousness. I'm using them, words, indifferently. You are the reality of the universe. To make it more palatable, let's say you are the reality of the experienced universe, of the universe which you experience. Let's keep it that way. Though the claim is much wider than that. Then third, nothing that happens in the reflection affects the mirror. Nothing that happens in consciousness affects consciousness. Oh yes, the body can be affected. If there is COVID, if there is a flu, the body can be affected. Oh yes, the mind can be affected. if there is unhappy incident, if there is a failure or a conflict or a clash, the mind can be affected. But the consciousness which witnesses, which illumines the affected body and the affected mind, the consciousness itself is not affected. When the body becomes sick, consciousness does not become sick. The body becomes old, consciousness does not become old. Remember, I'm not saying that the mind doesn't become old. The mind gets affected when the brain ages and the nervous system is affected. The mind can get affected. But consciousness does not get affected. That's the claim. You, the consciousness, are asanga, are unattached. And the world is a flow in you, and it's a flow of appearances in you. The body is a chain of appearances in you, the awareness. The mind, with its memories and emotions and knowledge, is also a series of appearances in you. You are unattached consciousness. You are the movie screen on which the movie of your life is playing. The screen is not affected. You are not affected. You are perfectly safe. No matter how good the things are, no matter how horrible, you are perfectly safe. As awareness, not as the body. And finally, non-duality. Everything that appears in consciousness, the universe that appears in consciousness, does not constitute a countable second apart from consciousness. It is non-dual with respect to consciousness. The universe, the world that we experience, is not apart from us, from you. You are the non-dual reality of this world. You'd say, aren't there others? No, there aren't. There are appearances of others. Also, they're all appearances, right? I can disregard them. You can't. When you say, I can disregard them, you're already talking again as the body-mind. You can disregard them to the extent that you can disregard your own body-mind. They are as real as this body and as this mind. They're as real as the person who wants to disregard them. But from the perspective of awareness, this personality and that personality and all of the others and all the living beings and all the so-called non-living things, they're nothing but I, the awareness. The universe is one with us. So non-dual universe. What is the non-duality of this universe? Atma-advaitam. The self is non-dual with respect to the universe. There is no second reality in this self. Although there appears to be millions of other beings, living, non-living, billions of other entities. All of them are appearances in awareness. So awareness is non-dual, advaitam. These four features. This is the central takeaway from this first verse. This is the central teaching. First of all, the preliminary, it has to be understood. It's a huge, huge step that I am awareness. I am the witness. But I, the witness, everything that I witness is grounded in me. Second, everything that I witness is not a separate reality apart from me. I am the reality of all of them. Third, I am not affected by that which I witness or illumine. Fourth, they do not constitute a second reality apart from me. I am the one non-dual reality, Brahman. I am Brahman. Advaitam, non-duality. Then Shankaracharya introduces a second example, dream example. This is the first example. Now he introduces a dream example. You see, Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam. The universe is like, example, so like what? Like a city seen in a mirror. Immediately he knows, people will think, there's a mirror, there's a city outside, and being reflected in the mirror, he says, Nijantargatam, seen inside you. How can you see a city inside you? Well, then the mirror example doesn't help too much, because you constantly think of something outside which is being reflected. Then he gives an example which we all can understand immediately. Dream example. Pashyan atmani mayaya bahiriva udbhutam yatha nidraya. As in dreams, when we fall asleep and we dream, there seems to be a world outside us. But when we wake up, we realize everybody and everything in that world was inside. Inside means it appeared in my mind. That's a dream. That's a dream. A dream is, it appeared to be outside. It's like a virtual world, And there is a people, there are halls and buildings and things are going on. I am also there in that dream. But when I wake up, all of that, living and non-living, and I who was in that dream, all of it, I realized just I, the dreamer, it was all within me. And it was all appearance. Not that those people were inside my head. Not that those buildings and rocks and all were inside my head. They were appearance. So, a dream is entirely internal, but appears to be external. Similarly, so he uses the dream example to buttress, supplement, support the city in the mirror example. The same 4 features. Now we can do an assignment. Apply the same 4 features. Wherever there is a dream person, dream place, dream happening, whatever is going on in the dream, there the dreaming mind must be there. Suppose you are walking in the near the lake in your dreams. When you wake up, you realize I was sleeping, but I felt I was walking there. That means the lake I saw, the grass and the leaves of the fall color and all of that, the beautiful, all of that, everywhere there. My mind was there, my mind was there, dreaming mind was there, the dreamer was there, the dreaming mind was there. The dreaming mind is the ground, the support, the basis of all entities in the dream. True or not? Second feature is that the dream is not real, the dreamer is real. What happened in the dream never happened. Those people inside the dream whom I saw, they didn't exist, they appeared. But what existed? The dreamer, you existed. You are the one who dreamt it up. Interesting. You, the dreamer, were never part of the dream. You were there in your own dream, but the one actually dreaming it, sleeping on the bed and dreaming, you were not part of that dream. But you dreamt it all. It was all in you, an appearance in you. Similarly, the world is an appearance in you, the consciousness. Third, nothing that happens in the dream can affect you, the dreamer. The best of things, if you win the lottery, the dreamer doesn't emerge with an inflated bank account. If you lose a tremendous amount of money, that's more likely in the dream, anxiety. A stock market crash, anxiety. If you lose millions of dollars in the dream, you wake up, congratulations, you're safe. Nothing happened to you. The waker, the one who dreamt, the dreamer cannot be affected by anything going on in the dream. Similarly, consciousness is not affected by anything it is aware of. Body can be scratched. It's not a scratch on consciousness. The mind can get depressed. Consciousness does not get depressed. Consciousness is just shining. That's all it does. It cannot. It cannot get depressed. So, and the last one, the dreamer is non-dual with respect to the dream. There is nothing, nobody, no event, no place, nothing in that dream which is apart from you, the dreamer. You alone appeared in those ways. So you are non-dual, no second in the dream. In the dream, there is nothing apart from you. Nobody apart from you. No place apart from you. No time apart from you. You means the dreamer. You are non-dual with respect to the dream. Those 4 features, the ground of appearances, the reality of the consciousness and the appearance nature of the objects of the universe, the non-attached, unaffected nature of consciousness, and the non-duality of consciousness. This is what Shankaracharya wants to say. The whole of Vedanta is given here, Advaita Vedanta. And he says, it doesn't really need much more teaching. Take a look, notice these features. Notice it. Everything that I'm experiencing, am I here when I'm experiencing something? Of course I am. It's just trivial that way. If I am experiencing something, I must be there. Consciousness must be there. Second, are these things which I experience appearances in consciousness? This takes more thought. Third, have I been affected by things in the world? He says, of course, I am broken, I am torn, I am traumatized by the world. What is broken and torn and worn out and traumatized by the world? The body. Swami, my nerves are short. You don't know. Nerves. My mind is traumatized. Mind. You, the consciousness? No. Lifetimes have come and gone. Disasters have come and gone. Deaths by thousands have come and gone. You are still here, I am still here. Great events, big and wonderful and horrible, have taken place in our many, many past lifetimes. They have disappeared, they have become ghosts, forgotten. You and I are fully here, happily here. You think I'm traumatized by life? One life. Imagine how many lifetimes. Just that we don't remember them. You're not traumatized. So, you're not affected. And finally, everything in this universe is not a countable second apart from you. Just as because of sleep we dream. Shankaracharya says, Mayaya, because of Maya, we experience this universe and we forget our true nature as consciousness and we catch hold of something in the universe and say, I am that. We catch hold of this body and this mind, this personality which is most intimately presented to consciousness, and we say, I am this one, and now I experience this world. Then what is illumination? Yasakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanameva dvayam. At the time of waking up, dream example again. Moment you wake up, what do you realize? You directly realize, I am non-dual with respect to whatever I dreamt of. So Swami, you might think that. No one else thinks that we are non-dual with respect. Yes, we don't use that language. But we all felt none of that was outside me. It was all me. We just say, oh, it was a dream. What does it mean? That little pithy phrase, oh, it was a dream. What do you mean by that? Nothing there was external to me. It was all me. It's like imagination. You sit and daydream, it's exactly like that. In a very vivid scale, I dreamt. In Technicolor, 3D. I dreamt in my dream, but nothing there is outside me. Nothing there is apart from me. It's all me. That is non-duality. At the time of enlightenment, so this is waking up from a dream. And he compares it to enlightenment. When we wake up from the dream of samsara, we immediately realize everything, everybody, whatever happened here, whatever is going to happen, all beings are nothing other than me. Not this particular thing. This one is also part of the dream. I, the consciousness. They are all entities shining. I, consciousness, appearing in all of these ways. I am non-dual. Prabodha samaj. Swatmanameva dvayam, who realizes the self to be non-dual. There are no other selves. There is only one self. And I am that. But equally, everybody can claim, I am that. That one who realizes that at the time of waking up from Maya, realized myself is non-dual, that one appears, is embodied as my Guru. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye. Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurti. I salute Dakshinamurti. There is a deep meaning. That refrain will come in every verse. I salute Dakshinamurti in the form of my Guru. I salute Dakshinamurti, which appears in the form of the Guru and as Dakshinamurti also. I salute that man, which is also my own real self. What it means in a deep philosophical sense, Advaitic sense is, this bowing down is separating myself from the upadhis. I'm using the technical Advaitic word, upadhis of body and mind, so that I can happily claim that I am pure consciousness. If I don't bow down, then what am I doing? I'm standing straight. Identified with body, mind and causal body. Physical body, subtle body and causal body. Identified by that. Stiffly standing straight. But when I bow down, then I see myself as one with Dakshina. But bowing down will require me to give up my identification with a limited body, mind, causal body, subtle body and physical body. Stula, sukshma, karana, sharira, vetirikta, vilakshana atma. That atma, that consciousness, which sees the physical body, the subtle body and also the causal body as objects appearing in itself. That atma can happily say, I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi. So this is the teaching in the first verse. Now, let me suggest a third example. Two examples have been given, don't forget them, especially sitting in the mirror. If there is one thing we should remember from this entire session or the entire retreat, is the city in the mirror. What do we take away from city in the mirror? I am like the mirror and the city is the universe. Everybody, everything is the universe. They're all appearances in me. But let me suggest a third example, which is useful for those of us here. We are lucky to have a beautiful lake, star lake, next to us. Now notice the features of the star lake. You can yourself tell me. When we look into the lake, you will see beautiful fall colors. Golden, red, brown, some green still there. All kinds of fall colors, beautiful leaves reflected, trees, and the hill, and then a dazzlingly blue sky, maybe a couple of birds flying. Everything you can see reflected in that lake. Now, for all the reflected trees and sky and birds, wherever there is a reflection, there will be the lake. Isn't it? In the reflection in the lake, if you see a reflected beautiful tree reflected in the lake, you try to touch it, what will happen? You will get wet. It's water. So wherever you see the reflection, water is there. It's the lake. The second feature, that in the lake there are no trees, there are no leaves, the reflected leaves. There is no bright blue sky, there are no birds flying. It's water, water, water. And these are reflections, these are appearances in that water. Just water. That is the Jagat Mithya. Reflection Mithya, lake Satyam, water Satyam. Vishwa Mithya and Dakshinamurti or Chaitanyam Satyam. Consciousness is the reality in which the universe is appearing. Third thing you remember, whatever happens in the reflections, that does not affect the lake. If the leaves turn from green to golden to brown, the lake does not turn green, golden, brown. Not at all. If the trees become bare, the bare trees are reflected in the lake does not become bare. Nothing happens to the lake, to the water in the lake, in spite of whatever is happening in the reflections. Similarly, nothing happens in me, the consciousness, in spite of whatever happens in the appearances in consciousness. Finally, all the things reflected in the lake, they do not constitute a countable second apart from the lake. If you see 100 trees reflected in the lake, 1,000,000 leaves reflected in the lake, what will you say? Count it. 1 lake, 100 trees, 1,000,000 leaves. No. 1 lake, done. Lake only. You can't count the trees and the leaves because they do not constitute a second countable reality. Lake Advaitam. Star Lake Advaitam. Similarly, consciousness is the basis of everything that we experience. Everything and everyone we experience are appearances in me, the consciousness. Nothing that happens in the world of appearances affects consciousness. Be careful, not body and mind. They will be affected. And then fourth one, all that I experience in consciousness does not constitute a countable second apart from consciousness. This realization. Wonderful. When will I get it, this realization? It's yours for the taking. Listen, notice, it's already a fact. The amazing claim of this Vedanta is whatever it's talking about, it's already a fact. Just see it. When will the lake become non-dual? It's a very dualistic lake, Swami. After a few retreats, it may become non-dual. No, it's always non-dual with respect to the appearances. You are non-dual with respect to the universe already. The thing is to see it. That seeing it is waking up. What is the waking up for dream? You wake up from the dream into the waking state. What is the waking up for enlightenment? You realize your non-dual nature, your asanga nature, the appearance nature of the universe, and you, the foundational consciousness for everything. Another thing about the lake, and we will see that later in the 6th verse, but right now, if you see that, no reflections are seen now. And the lake is also not seen now. Reflections are there or not? They are not there. Lake is there or not? It's there. In the absence of the reflections, in the absence of daylight, you cannot see any reflections, nor can you see the lake. But that when the reflections are gone, that does not mean the lake is gone. When the universe is gone, when the daylight is gone, waking is gone, dreams are gone, does not mean consciousness is gone. in deep sleep, in coma, in general anesthesia, does not mean consciousness is gone. There are no reflections in consciousness. There are no appearances in consciousness. In fact, consciousness itself seems to be non-existent. Look, lake seems to be non-existent. No reflections, no lake also. What does the lake do for the reflections? It enables the appearance of the reflections. But what do the reflections do for the lake? They make the lake manifest. They make the lake evident that such a thing is there. When the reflections are gone, they are actually gone. There are no reflections anymore. But the lake is not gone. Lake is there. The reflections have become unmanifest. The lake has become. The reflections are gone. The lake has become unmanifest. Similarly, every night, very soon it's going to become unmanifest. Consciousness will become unmanifest, will remain, but it will be there. Even when dreams stop, waking stops, dreams stop, consciousness will be there, like that unmanifest lake. So what we will do is, as we walk past the lake the next 3 days, we'll meditate upon it. Look carefully at the reflections. Touch it also and see you're touching the lake. Don't catch a cold, it'll be very cold. And then compare it to yourself. Compare it to consciousness. Consciousness and the world. Yourself and the world. The subject and the object. Now we'll take up few questions. Yes. How do we do that? The microphone is where? Oh, there is a microphone. Please queue up there. And tell us your name and ask the question. All right. You're there. And Raka. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Pranam Maharaj. My name is Sangeeta. The two examples that we just learned, one is about the dreaming mind and the other being the lake, and how everything is an appearance.
No, 3 examples then. Mirror, city in the, don't forget the city in the mirror. Most important example. Yeah, then the dream. And then the lake we have added here just because of the retreat here.
Right. So referring to the 2 examples, the question really is, how do we overcome the struggle for derooting the mind to find a need or a basis for something before a reflection or an appearance exists?
Sorry, for what? How do we find?
So in both these examples, when it's the lake, something actually exists and then the reflections are caused.
Yes.
Right? So how do you deroot the mind's need? Deroot. Remove the need for the mind to find a basis before any appearance or reflection happens.
How do you do that? A basis before any reflection happens. Why do you need to do that? Maya can provide generate that which is appearing in consciousness. That's what he will say. It's because of Maya, all the objects appear in consciousness. It is the very nature of consciousness to appear in various ways. It's something we are going a little bit ahead of ourselves. So the question will be like this. The lake is homogeneous, just water. But all the brilliance of the reflections, it all comes from a variety of, trees and leaves and different colors which are all reflected in that water. Then you see the variety does not exist in that lake. But it reflects and you can see the reflections. Now, if it is just one consciousness, in the dream for example, the dreaming mind has impressions of 1,000 different things from the waking state, and therefore it can generate various kinds of dreams. But if it is just homogeneous consciousness, just like the plain water there, and it is non-dual, there is nothing apart from consciousness, where do these varied appearances, from amoeba to star systems, from living beings to AI, how are they all appearing in such a tremendous variety appearing in consciousness? Where is the seed of this variety? That can be the question?
Yes.
So these different ways answers has been given. One answer is, the classic answer which Shankaracharya will give is Maya. It is the power of consciousness to project variety. Then the question here will be that then does it not constitute a second reality apart from consciousness? So is it really non-dual? Don't you have consciousness plus Maya? But the thing there is that Maya is not a second countable reality apart from consciousness. It does not have any separate reality of its own. Therefore, it does not constitute a countable second. It's not non-dual. One way we can understand this is the Shakti of Ishvara. The fire and its burning power. The burning power of fire is not a second reality existing apart from fire. That's one way of understanding it. But there also logical problems will come, because you have said that this pure consciousness is without properties, without any qualifications. When you say fire and burning power of fire, but then you're saying fire has a property.
Right.
So you can't push that example too far. One answer could be, it is the intrinsic nature of consciousness to appear in multiple ways. The example, I'm taking this example from Kashmiri Shaivism. There they give example of the peacock's egg. Now, he says if you examine the liquid inside the peacock's egg, it's a uniform, almost colorless liquid. But give it time, when it hatches and a little chick comes out, and then it becomes a fully grown peacock, and you will have 1,000 brilliant colors displayed. But all of that, we will see later on, there's a whole verse about this. All of that was existing as information in the almost colorless liquid present in that egg. So what seems to be homogeneous consciousness, it can appear to itself in an endless variety of things. Why would you say that? Why would when a homogeneous thing appear as a variety? It goes very deep. Let me give you a little hint here and I'll stop. The Advaitin will say, go a little further. Why will it appear at all? It's a variety, it's homogeneous consciousness. How did this variety come? But why will it appear at all? Why is there a reflection at all? Why is there a city in the mirror at all? Why not only mirror? Why not only water? Why reflection in the water? Why not only the sleeper? Why dream is there? So why is the universe appearing in one non-dual consciousness? Let me give you two answers here, quickly. One is, a beautiful answer a monk suggested. He said, what is the nature of consciousness? The nature of consciousness is to experience. Consciousness means it's an experience. What does consciousness do? What is it good for? It experiences, anubhava. Consciousness is the very core of, the heart of experience. One way of defining Brahman is anubhava matra param brahma. Consciousness, experience, pure experience itself is param brahma. So the nature of consciousness is to experience. But now the problem is there is nothing apart from, if non-duality is right, there is nothing apart from consciousness. What will consciousness experience? There is nothing apart from consciousness. So this sadhu suggested consciousness will experience itself, but it's not an object. That which is not an object will erroneously experience itself as an object. That which is one will always experience itself as many. That which is unchanging will experience itself as changing. That which is bliss will experience itself as dukkhamaya jagat samsara. Very poetic and philosophical kind of, the very nature of consciousness is to experience. There is nothing other than itself to experience, so it will experience in all these ways. And this problem will continue until it realizes what it is experiencing is itself. Then the problem is solved. If all of this is I, me, mine, just as the dream is not a problem, no matter what happens in the dream, similarly this world will not be a problem. Everyone will be one with you. Not because you dismiss it, it's because you own it up as your own nature. So this is one answer. Why is this happening? Because of the nature of consciousness to experience itself. And the only way it can experience itself is in variety. Otherwise, the experience is not possible. The second answer I have generated myself. It's a cute little answer, but it's very, very nice. If you're asking, why is there a reflection in the mirror? Why is there a reflection in the lake? Or why there's a dream at all? Why Brahman experiences the universe itself as the universe and this? Why at all? Well, the answer would be, what are the possibilities? Logical. Either there is a reflection or there is no reflection. Now, what would you say to a mirror which has no reflection at all? It's a useless mirror. What good is a mirror without reflections? It's designed for reflections. If you say Brahman does not experience anything, Brahman is pure being, existence itself. What about existing things? Worlds, people, cars, halls, microphones? No, just Brahman. What a useless Brahman. Why can't existence appear as existing things? Brahman is pure consciousness. What does it experience? Nothing, just awareness. What a useless consciousness. Why should it not experience pleasure, pain, joy, success, failure, life, death? But when it does so, we complain, oh samsara, why all this is happening? So only two states are possible. Either something will be there or nothing will be there. And Brahman provides us with both. In our waking state, something is there. In our dream state, something is there. In deep sleep, nothing is appearing. In Srishti and Sthiti, something is there. In Pralaya, nothing is there. Brahman provides us with both logical alternatives. Yeah.
Thank you.
Next. Come. Yeah, it's your turn. Yes, come.
Oh, okay.
He's a volunteer.
I see. I see.
He's more like the witness consciousness.
Pranam Maharaj.
Yes.
At one point you said, I, the consciousness. All of this is appearing to I, the consciousness. And then we have in the Mahavakyas, like Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. But when we think of I, normally we think of the ego, like the ahamkara, that
Yes.
sense of I. But when ignorance vanishes, there is no I, the consciousness. So I guess, is it a figure of speech, or why do we say
Yeah, two
I?
things.
Yeah.
One is, normally the I is the ego, indistinguishably. And what Vedanta says is, this consciousness itself in identification with the body-mind, with the subtle, gross body, subtle body, and the causal body. This consciousness itself appears as the ego. When it does not know itself as consciousness, then it's identified with the ego. What is the ego? The ego is a function of the mind. It's an activity of the mind. Just now you can see it's the mind thinking I. And it serves a purpose. Various activities are going on in this body-mind. The ego coordinates them, appropriates them, unites them. So, I am seeing, I am talking, I am sitting here, I am thinking. Thinking, talking, sitting, these are various activities. But they are all united and coordinated by one function. And that is also a function of the mind. But we don't think of itself just as a function of the mind. We conflate the self with the ego. I am this one. And I don't see myself as anything different from the ego. Vedanta shows us that the real I is not the ego. So it retains the I. It does not, So there's a reason.
My question, yeah.
There's a reason why. Because freedom, the problem is mine. And freedom from the problem should also be mine. If you say that one option could be to dissolve you, but the dissolution of the I also should be evident to something somewhere.
Yes.
And that ultimate reality, the advantage of the I is what is called aparoksha, directly identified with myself. It is directly who I am. And so Brahman, Atman, pure consciousness, all of these should directly be connected to the I in order for me to get benefit from it. Otherwise, there is some limitless consciousness. Good, what's it to me? I am that limitless consciousness. Aha! Then my whole paradigm changes. Right.
So the significance is that it is in this mind that the truth of Brahman is appearing. It is the enlightenment happens in the mind.
And not only that, notice the very nature of consciousness, very nature of awareness is our innermost reality. If you probe into the I also, the sense of self, you will find at its heart is awareness. So I and that awareness, they are very intimately connected. On one side of it, it's an ego. But the ego is not what is meant. Vedanta is trying to force us from the ego idea to awareness itself. From this to this.
The real I.
The real I, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. The root of the ego is always in ignorance. of the real I. Yes. Where is the root of the dream? Not waking up. The root of the dream is not waking up. Where is the root of the ego? The ego is not knowing that I am pure consciousness. That's the root. If you remove that, adhisthana jnana, when you realize the ground of the ego, the pure consciousness, then you will no longer, I'm using the words carefully, you will no longer be identified with the ego. Will the ego function? Yes, it will still function. It will not bind you anymore. It will function as a function of the mind, what it was supposed to do in the first place. Even Sri Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi, Vivekananda, they all use the word I, but not in the sense we use it. Yes. Tell us your name.
Yes. Pranams Maharaj. My name is Purnima. I think I didn't understand this part, so I'm going to ask you since it's going to appear in every verse. You said if I don't...
Yes.
If I don't bow down, then I'm identified with the body-mind. And if I...
It's working.
Yeah, so I didn't understand that, because if you don't bow down and if you're identified with the body and mind, but if you bow down, you're still identified with the body mind, because if you realize who you are, then where is this bowing down coming from? So that sentence I didn't understand. Maybe I missed what you said.
Yes, it's a poetic way of putting it. One is, as this jiva, I can bow down to God as Dakshinamurti, Saguna Brahman. I am the jiva. Dakshinamurti is Ishvara, Bhagavan, creator, preserver, destroyer of the universe. We shall see that. I can bow down. That's devotional.
Right.
That's dualistic, devotional. But now the deeper meaning of the non-dual meaning of it, bowing down here means that realization.
Oh, bowing down is realization.
Is realization. But remember, realization here is a kind of bowing down, because it requires me to be separated, to see myself as distinct from the body-mind. Then I become one with pure consciousness.
So here it is the formation of the chin mudra itself, where one finger touches the other. Okay,
yes.
Understood.
It is the moving from the, if you use technical terms in Vedanta, moving from the vachyartha of the aham or the tvam padartha to the lakshyartha.
Understood.
From the direct meaning of I to the implied meaning of I.
So this bowing down is implied meaning. Got it.
Yes.
Understood.
This movement is the bowing down.
All right.
What is this movement? I am not the body, not the mind, not the causal body. Shariratraya vilakshana atma, avasthatraya sakshi atma. That movement, that vichara, that clarity, that insight, that is the bowing down.
Got it, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yes. Last question.
Pranam Maharaj.
Tell us your name.
My name is Prem. I'm from Boston.
I can tell from your accent, Boston.
So my sense of awareness or discernment from my mind and body arose only when I matured in age, right? It's the same for all of us. When we were 10 years of age, we all, thought of us as the I, right? Doesn't that imply that awareness is actually related to a state of mind? Per Advaita Vedanta, Brahman or awareness exists in all things, or all beings rather, including animals, right? But animals are not self-aware, as they are not as much evolved as us, right? Doesn't this also support the argument that awareness is really indeed a state of mind and not separate from it? Could you please clarify this for me?
Yes. The answer would be no. Awareness is not just a state of mind. So, first of all, use the original arguments, the old ancient arguments which were given, changing and unchanging. States of mind are continuously changing, but each state of mind is illumined by awareness. We never see awareness changing. If awareness were a state of the mind, states change. Waking changes into dream, dream changes into deep sleep, people can get high on drugs, people can get hallucinatory, people can go into coma. These are all these are all states of the mind. And they are deeply related to states of the brain. But awareness doesn't change, according to this approach. So it cannot be a state of the mind. What else did you say? Animals. Animals are not self-aware. Are we sure of that? We are now. What you say about awareness in the mind? What you are talking about? That awareness we will talk about it later. This is called vritti jnana, and the awareness reflected in the mind, the awareness which we are feeling right now in the mind. That we will talk. That's not the pure consciousness which Vedanta was talking about. It's not so much that this pure consciousness is present in everything, in all animals. Rather, everything is present in this pure consciousness. Think about it this way. Use the same examples which were given. Is it a fact that in the city, in the mirror, you see buildings, you see parks, you see people, roads? And we said the mirror is the ground of those reflections. That means, is it a fact that in those buildings there is a mirror, in those people there is mirror, in the roads there is mirror? Or is it more that those roads, buildings and people are all just reflections in the mirror? It's not that there are buildings and inside that there is a mirror. Are you following me? The example which we used. Vedanta is claiming that. It's a much more radical claim than that. It's not that there are people and places and inside that some kind of awareness is present. That awareness is present in us, for example, biological beings. But that we will talk about later. But the awareness they are talking about, consciousness, this Dakshinamurti they are talking about, that's this global consciousness in which everything is appearing. This is a deep debate between realism and idealism. We have a common sense view, the world exists first, then we are born into it, and then some kind of awareness develops in baby, and then when we become children, grown up, our sense of identity becomes more distinct, and that happens at a very biological or psychological level. But beyond both this one consciousness in which all of these are appearing. So we are talking about a different level altogether. And yet this level is not speculative. It's like your dream. In your dream, suppose you see a child growing up from babyhood to childhood and then coming into self-awareness. Later on your dream snaps and you wake up. And you realized that child, its undifferentiated awareness and then coming up to individuated self-awareness, the whole thing was in the global dream space of your mind. Similarly, the claim here is there is a global dream space of consciousness in which the universe is appearing. That's the claim. Yes. Last? Yes.
My name is Prakyat. So you provide the explanation saying that consciousness projects a universe onto itself and then experiences itself. Is there also an explanation or theory about why it projects this type of a universe with pleasure and pain and knowledge and ignorance and so many dualities?
Why this particular type of universe? See, it projects a universe, that means already time, space, difference is understood. Without difference, projection cannot be possible. Without time and space and causality, projection is not possible. So a framework is assumed there. In this framework, for example, if you say, why does it project a universe with time? Well, a universe without time is very difficult to conceive of because there wouldn't be any change. Why does it project a universe with space? Without space, they would the stage for the play to be set would, like a Broadway play. If you say, why is there a play? Why do you require a stage? There's a place where the play has to be staged. So time, space, causality are understood. Shankaracharya will speak about it in the 8th or 9th verse. Karya karana, causality. That is the stage upon which this play is going on. But if you ask further, why this particular kind of a play? Why are these things happening? There, Vedanta will go to law of karma. These things are happening because of previous causes. Those things happened because of previous causes. Cause and effect. And in this day and age today, the age of science, many such how questions, I would refer us to science itself. Science can give precise answers. If you ask, why is Brahman projecting nebulae and then planets being formed? Well, science can tell you, cosmology can tell you how it's being formed. But why at all anything is there? Why anything exists at all? The big question. There Vedanta comes in. Existence itself Why does anything exist? What is existence? Why are we having this particular kind of experience? Causality will tell you, law of karma will tell you. But why are we having experience itself? What are we essentially? If you say body, physiology will give you an answer. If you say psychology, if you say mind, psychology will give you some answer. But I as the awareness, what am I? There Vedanta comes in. At the deepest level. I'll end with this, that it struck me, just the simplest of things, but it's there right in staring in our face, but it doesn't occur to us. The deepest questions of philosophy, the deepest questions that have come to human beings. What is reality? Not this kind of reality, that kind of, what is real after all? That is called metaphysics in philosophy. Or new name, ontology. Ontos means being, the study of being. Second question would be, how do we know anything at all? Knowledge itself. That part of philosophy is called epistemology. The third part of it is, what's the point, purpose, good, value of all of this? Purpose of it, value of it, point of it. That part of it is called axiology. It covers fields like ethics, aesthetics. There are a bunch of subjects which are now, there's an umbrella term called axiology. So all of philosophy is three great questions. What is reality, or what is real? Ontology. How do we know anything? Epistemology. And what's the point or value of it at all, if there's any value? What's the point of it all? Axiology. Now see, Sat, Chit, Ananda. What is reality? Being itself, existence itself, Sat. How is any knowledge possible? You'll see a whole verse will come on that. How is any knowledge possible? Chit, consciousness, and what we talked about today. And what's the point of anything? Ananda. The ultimate answers to these great questions, whether you agree about it or not. But these are amazing answers. And look at how the nature of the ultimate reality has been thought of in Advaita Vedanta, what it is claimed to be. It is being itself, it's consciousness itself, it is Ananda itself. These are the answers to our deepest questions. What is reality? How do we know? And what's the point of it? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Vedanta answers questions at that level. Little more down the scale, law of karma will be invoked. But Vedanta critiques the law of karma also. Little more down the scale, more into details, let's go to science for that in this day and age. Earlier, the people did not have the benefit of modern science. They used to rely on ancient cosmology and things like that. So in this day and age, let us go to science for answers to that. But the ultimate answers are Satchidananda, and even more tremendous than that, Vedanta claims you are this Satchidananda. You are the ultimate reality of things. You are the reason why there is any experience at all. You are the whole point and purpose of life and this universe. What a grand, grand view of human nature. From that perspective, one sadhu said, "Kahin koi mrityu nahi Mahatma ji, kahin koi jadata nahi, kahin koi dukh nahi." O monk, there is never and anywhere, ever, there is never any death. Nowhere, never is there any death. Because you are Sat. How can there be death? You are being itself. There is no insentiency, there is no darkness, because you are light itself. Chit. And there is really, really speaking, no suffering anywhere, because you are Ananda itself. At that level. No death, no darkness, no suffering. Satchidananda. On that very, very, very high note. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.